Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome back to this Astrology, Human Design, and Gene Keys channel with me today, Tan. And we're going to be diving deeper into Gene Key 17 and Human Design Gate 17 today. We're almost done with our Gene Key series. I'm almost done making 64 Gene Key videos. It's been a whole almost 3 years on this journey, but it's finishing. And of course, if you're interested in getting any kind of reading, whether that's human design, astrology, or gene keys, then head over to my astrology website, tanastrology.com, where me and my sister soul tribes would love to be your guides on your self-discovery journeys. All right, so let's begin Gene Key 17 by doing a quick overview, as we always do with the Gene Keys. So Gene Key 17 spans 3 degrees and 52 minutes of Aries to 9 degrees and 30 minutes of Aries. And it has a shadow called opinion, a gift of far-sightedness and the siddhi of omniscience. In the dream arc totem, the vision key bird is of course the peregrine, falcon, the life key animal is the giraffe, and the fear key underworld creature is the silkworm. In the codon ring, this gene key is part of the ring of humanity and is associated with the amino acid arginine. And in the I-CHING hexagram, this hexagram is lake over thunder, called following. Oracular insight is visible when the waters of the mind are still. The programming partner of Gene Key 17 is Gene Key 18, and that's of course Libra archetype, because the programming partner is the opposite point of the zodiac wheel and can offer a balancing complementary opposite energy to Gene Key 17. In human design, gate 17 is located in the AJNA and is connected to gate 62 in the throat via a channel called the channel of acceptance or organization. It has a shadow of dismemberment, a gift of organization, and a siddhi of holism. So if you have this archetype somewhere in your chart, I would say that you are somebody who has a logical mind. So you can think in patterns. You may even be mathematically talented in some ways, or you may like numbers or be very good with numbers in some way, shape, or form. And if you are not, you may be in the repressed shadow of this gene key, because this gene key uses numbers and patterns as a gift. So your mind is just very sharp when it comes to logic. You can also, of course, be too logical, which, of course, you step into the shadow of opinion, which we'll talk about real soon. And when you have this, you have something of a fast nature to you, depending on which planet you have it in. If it's like a moon, if your moon is in this gene key, you have fast emotions, fast reactions. If it is like Venus, you're very fast in falling in love, or you like speed in some ways, you enjoy speed. Mercury in this gene key, you just have a fast mind, that kind of energy. So let's look further at the shadow here, which is called opinion. What does that mean when you're in the shadow of opinion? Oh yes, and just before we get started, a quick announcement that our Gene Keys library is now open. So if you head over to our website, hyphensoul.com, under courses, you will see that we are offering resources for each of the Gene Keys. So if you would like this, if you want to learn more about the Gene Keys, we provide meditation techniques, we provide an explanation or an interpretation of each of the human design gates or gene keys through the lines. We provide just a bunch of amazing resources for you to not only understand deeper each of the gene keys, but also embody them as well. So this is a really, really useful tool that we are developing every single month. New gene key resources are coming out for you. So do head over there to our website and check it out if that interests you in any way. Now, you can also access our Gene Keys library for free if you become a member of Soul. So a little bit about our membership program. This is a cosmic tribe that we are building, and as a member of our cosmic tribe, you have 2 available options for you. You can either become a monthly member or a yearly membership. With the monthly membership, you get free access to our Gene Keys library. With the yearly membership, you not only get free access to our Gene Keys library, but also a free human design course with 9+ hours of teaching videos from me and Cindy, and a workbook with 150+ pages of amazing journaling, contemplation questions, and human design explanations that we have provided for you. So both of these programs are amazing. So not only do you get the free Gene Keys library access and free human design course, but you get to access and attend all of our 4 times monthly masterclasses and workshops on human design, gene keys, astrology, embodiment practices, and guest speaker events, and just connecting more with our community in a very intimate way, plus a journaling session that is led by Sarah every week. So this is such an amazing opportunity that we are providing for you, such an amazing community that we are building. So yeah, if this interests you and feels right for you in any way, beautiful souls, head over to our website, hyphensoul.com, and see what feels right for you. So this gene key is associated with the left hemisphere of the brain, the logical brain. And our opinions as human beings, this is what sets us apart from other animals and creatures in the world, because they don't have this ability to have opinions, right? Cats don't really have opinions. They may have preferences, but that's different from an opinion. However, this part of our brain that sets us apart from animals is also the part of our brain that leads us away from the reality of our interconnectedness to everything. So there's a bit of a superiority mentality when you have this gene key in some way, shape, or form. To put simply, people with this gene key tend to think they're smarter than other people. Sorry, Aries, it's just kind of how the way that this gene key kind of works in the shadow frequency. The shadow of opinion means that you are somebody who challenges the narrow aspects of the whole rather than the entirety or the holistic viewpoint of something. So this gene key is programmed to look for flaws in the world. Yeah, it's programmed to look for outer flaws in the world, which can be used for something very beneficial at the gift and the siddhi. But in the shadow energy frequency, when you discover a flaw, you identify completely with it in terms of your worldview. So you see a single flaw and the entire world becomes kind of like that. Or you see a single flaw and everybody who has something similar to this flaw becomes like that. So there's a generalization tendency that comes with this gene key in the shadow of opinion. And this shadow of opinion, this, why do you do this why do you think it this way? It's stemming from a conditioning of your past in your childhood. And sometimes it's stemming from some kind of defense mechanism. You can turn, when you're in the shadow of opinion, you can turn a molehill into a mountain. So there's this psychological theory, right, that children develop through 3 7-year cycles. The first 7 years is from 1 to 7 years old. The second 7 years is from 8 to 14 years old, and the rest from around 14 to 21 years old. So in the third and last cycle of development, from 14 to 21 years old, this is called the mental cycle of development. So during this stage of your development, when you were a teenager, there was a seed that was planted in there that and I can't say what that seed is. It's different for everybody, but it's something that was planted there that causes you to become conditioned into having to identify and rely on your opinions. This may be, there could be 2 things that happen. There could be a conforming to the opinions of your parents and your family, or there could be the rebelling against the opinions, the way of being or thinking of your parents and your family. Either one of those are conditioning. If you're a rebel, you're conditioned. If you're not a rebel, you're conforming, you're conditioned. And conditioning means you're not being yourself. It means that you're still impacted and influenced by your environment. So you don't have a mind of your own. And the thing is, opinion is not inherently unhealthy or anything like that. Even in our world, we tend to look at opinion and view somebody who has an opinion as, it being a good thing. And it can be a good thing. But the problem happens when that opinion becomes dogma, when it becomes generalization, when you identify with your opinion. That's when the problem happens, because that turns your life and turns you into a very serious person. A healthy opinion is somebody who has an opinion and is able to be playful with it. The shadow opinion is seriousness that's attached to your opinion. So this over seriousness and attachment to your opinions causes you to feel like you have to defend yourself a lot. And this is coming from the emotions, right? Being attached to your emotions. If you were not emotionally attached to your opinions, you wouldn't have to defend them. So Richard also describes that opinion is the root cause of violence as well. It's what really triggers us to be violent to other people, whether that's verbally or physically or emotionally. So with regards to the 3 7-year cycles of children and teenagers, if one of those cycles was somehow not completed or was influenced in some ways, what this ends up doing is it disrupts the natural rhythms of growth within you and within your mind. And if this doesn't get healed if it doesn't get healed by the time you are 21 years old, by the end of the last cycle, it will, come into your adult life, and you will become an adult that has a little bit of a mental anxiety about you, and this can become very hard to fix as an adult. The shadow of opinion makes it so that you label people and the world in categories and boxes. There's this religion and that religion. There's this country and that country. There's this culture and that culture. There's men and there's women. It causes division and comparison and opinion. All your eyes are able to see is your own point of view and how you can best defend it or maintain it. But the thing you have to understand about the 17th gene key is that it is very talented and adept at organizing and recognizing patterns and organizing things. It helps you to be able to structure certain things as well, like, for example, language. But the thing about language is also that it's built upon a dualistic language structure that doesn't really allow for transcendence. So at some point, you have to be able to transcend beyond duality and reach this and structure your inner language to a third level that lies beyond two contrary opinions. So if you have this gene key, watch your thoughts real carefully. Watch the words that come into your thoughts. And see, if you're in the shadow, you may very quickly be able to put things into boxes and categories in a very dualistic way. This is good or bad. This is right or wrong. This is correct or incorrect. The moment you do that, you don't allow for your ability to transcend dualistic perspectives, and you narrow your opinion on certain things. So we can have 2 kinds of shadows. We can have a repressive and a reactive shadow, and you will have both. If you have this gene key, you don't have one without the other, and it will switch back and forth in your life. So the first repressive shadow is called self-critical. So the self-critical repressive shadow is when you turn opinions inwards. And you compare yourself to others a lot. And you side with others as well. And you're not very much aware that you are doing this, but you do. So like you compare yourself to another person. You put yourself in a position to agree with them. So let's say that you think you're not very beautiful, right? You compare yourself to somebody who's very beautiful and you side with that person as that is beautiful and I am not. You become somebody who doesn't even value yourself enough to hold your opinion or express it. You may also lack the backbone necessary to stand up for yourself when you need to, and because you have no real sense of yourself and who you are. And in this repressed shadow, you also become somebody who can always find evidence to support, to prove the validity of your viewpoint. Another word for this is confirmation bias, of course. Although there are evidence that doesn't support and goes against your viewpoint, you disregard those evidence in favor of only the evidence that supports your viewpoint. So there's really no truth in that. For example, let's say that you are in a relationship and you really want to be with this person in your relationship, right? So you will find all the good things about them and all the good things that other people have said about them, and you will neglect all of the maybe negative things that other people have said about your partner or that has happened in your relationship that may be toxic in some way, shape, or form because you want to be with this person. So, you will tell yourself that they love me, they always compliment me, they always cook me a nice meal, they always buy me birthday gifts. But you don't even take into consideration the fact that they were angry with you the other day and were verbally abusive to you, or that they put you down a few weeks ago because of the shirt that you wore. No. I'm only going to look at the evidence that supports what I want to believe and what I want to see. Confirmation bias. You go on accumulating evidence throughout your life to support whatever core belief that you believe in. So you basically distort facts and logic for your own ends by building an argument and concealing the counter argument. So building an argument for it and then concealing the counter argument against it. So when you have the reactive shadow, this is, of course, somebody who is highly opinionated. And this is when you take opinion and you turn it outwards and it becomes dogma. So you use your logic to reinforce or even force your opinions onto other people. And you do this by saying things that make other people feel like what they think is wrong in some way, shape, or form, so that they can believe what you believe. And your opinions are, based on some kind of system, science, or some kind of systems or hierarchies, and they're kind of stuck within those systems or hierarchies. And the reason behind this is anger. There's a repressed anger inside of you. So how do we move from this shadow of opinion to the gift of farsightedness? So the first thing to consider when you're transcending from this, I feel like I'm getting darker in here because of the light in the background, but so the first thing you have to consider when you're transcending and moving from the shadow of opinion to the gift of farsightedness is that, one, you have to be able to transcend beyond your fear of freedom, because opinion brings in some kind of security within your life, but freedom doesn't have that security. And at some point, you have to move from this stuck, secure place to freedom, especially in relationships. Because like the example that I mentioned previously, if you're in a relationship with somebody who's maybe a little bit toxic to you in some way, shape, or form, but you fear the freedom that you could have from leaving this person and maybe finding a better relationship that offers you more freedom, you use your mind to create confirmation bias so that you can stay with this particular person, so that you don't have to experience that freedom. The second thing is to stop taking life so personally and so seriously. When you are in the gift of farsightedness, you are not, you have a very mentally dynamic mind. You have a very dynamic mind. And you do not sit idly by with a philosophy of passive acceptance. You have a gift of being able to understand the minute little details of life and of situations, but also understand the whole picture of what's happening in front of you. You uphold your integrity by challenging all misrepresentations of the truth in the world. You open up your mind, and there is an open-mindedness at a gift frequency of farsightedness here. So let's go back to that example of that relationship. You no longer view this relationship as just being something where it is just in the now, but you look into the future. You look at the whole picture of everything, of things. You understand that it's okay to let somebody go if they are not at a standard that is good for you. And we're going to talk a little bit about standards with Gene Key 18. If you have both 17 and 18, then please watch Gene Key 18 as well, because standards and integrity are related to opinion and farsightedness. You, at the gift of farsightedness, you can undermine any kind of self-serving dogma, including your own self-serving dogma. So you know that you are doing confirmation bias. You know that this is self-serving dogma in some ways, or you know that you are imposing your opinions onto other people in a self-serving way. So you undermine that as well. You are able to differentiate between energy frequencies that lower your energy frequency and those that raise your frequency, and you don't remain stuck in frequencies that lower your own frequency. And ultimately, this gift of farsightedness is about the opening of the third eye. You see that it's futile to identify with a specific opinion. Richard Rudd mentions that farsightedness can be said to arise directly out of the heart rather than that of the mind. This 17th gift is in fact the true instrument of human perception. So when you're in the gift of farsightedness, you can begin to see higher realities and higher dimensions. You are given the gift of precognition. You actually see, well, maybe not so much visually, but in your mind's eye, you see things in a totally new way. but you're not seeing from the mind. Sorry, I'm using the mind's eye as a very incorrect word here. You're not seeing with the mind, but this mind's eye that we're looking at means that you're seeing from the awareness of your solar plexus, which allows for universal knowing to settle within your body. So yes, people who have the gift of farsightedness are really able to look into the future. They're really able to predict what's going to happen in the future. You are able to see how one pattern gives rise to another pattern, and therefore that is where prediction is coming from, by seeing trends and patterns. You can see the logical progression of one phase of evolution to another. You don't see archetypes, however. So, astrology, gene keys, they're archetypes. That's not about the 17th gene key. You don't see archetypes, but you see numbers. You see patterns rooted in numbers and letters. So like numerology is really good for somebody with this gene key to be doing in one way or another. You see and understand divine mathematics and the geometry of the universe and the progression of the plan of the universe. You are in some way a scientist as well. So anybody who has the 17th gene key in their chart will have a different role to play. They will, so you with the 17th gene key will be different from somebody else with a 17th gene key gift, right? And you will tune into a specific system that doesn't work currently in the world. And you perceive the patterns of the past and you perceive what needs to be done so that the future improves this particular system. Another person with a gene key 17 is going to look at a different system and look for ways to improve that particular system. So each person with a 17th gift is looking to improve different systems in the world. That kind of made sense? So each person with a 17th gift is looking at a different evolutionary pattern of humanity and see how we can move towards more unity. So every person with a 17th gene key gift is holding a different part of the jigsaw puzzle that can eventually come together one day and create a better world and a better humanity collective in the world. And what this means is that every person who has a 17th gene key, because although they're holding a different jigsaw puzzle, the moment that they use their gift, they want to achieve the same thing. Okay? So they won't disagree with each other, because of their ability to see with farsightedness and understanding their role in this farsightedness of the future. If you meet two people or three or four with the 17th gene key coming together and they disagree on something, that means that one person or both people are still in the shadow of opinion. Because it's not possible. If you're in the gifts of farsightedness, you will understand that you're trying to get to the same thing. You're seeing the same patterns of the universe of evolution, and you're trying to come to this place of unity. You're trying to work on the same jigsaw puzzle, although you may be holding a different piece. So it's not possible that you would disagree on what the other person is doing, because you trust that this is going to come together and it's going to be unified and whole. So if they're disagreeing, a really good way to tell if somebody with a 17th gift is in the shadow is constantly disagreeing with each other when the two people have a 17th gene key. So, the siddhi of omniscience. And like I mentioned with my gene key videos, I don't want to talk too long about the siddhi because it's really that state of being that's enlightenment. And the siddhi will kind of dawn upon you when you are playing out the gift of a particular gene key for a long period of time in your life. The siddhi will just be there, will just come to you, and you won't really have to do much anymore. It's just about being the siddhi. So, the siddhi of omniscience is considered to be the full opening of the third eye. The entire picture of humanity is placed before a single human being. There are many yogic disciplines and many psychedelic drugs that promises the opening of the third eye, which is also, your pituitary glands. However, that kind of opening of the third eye doesn't compare. It's not even equivalent to the siddhi of omniscience. Because the siddhi of omniscience, this opening of the third eye of the omniscience, can only happen after a full opening of the heart. Once the heart has bloomed, the inner eye provides a communicative link or an interface between the brain and pure consciousness. That only happens after the heart has begun to open up. When you're in the siddhi of omniscience, you can see the future in precise detail. You experience past, present, and future as one single consciousness. And sometimes True seers and oracles will sometimes they will be blind or they will be deaf. I don't know if you guys have been watching Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix, but her friend Ross is a cunning woman, and her family are all cunning women, right? But they're also blind. They can see into the future, but they are blind. So something interesting there as well. That's a kind of a really good illustration of the 17th gift or siddhi. And the reason why true seers and oracles may sometimes be blind or deaf is because this is a symbol of consciousness seeing through you rather than you through consciousness. When you're in the gift siddhi of omniscience, you understand that whatever that's happening in this moment is perfect in the way that it is, because it is following a direction of consciousness in this world of form. In the I-CHING, this gene key, this hexagram, is called following. And it's called following because this is a gene key that has to do with understanding that everything is following a plan. And the plan is perfect in itself. The plan is both predetermined and created as we walk along its path. So that is the transmission of Gene Key 17, Human Design Gate 17, this Aries archetype. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. If you have this gene key, then do comment below as well what your experiences has been. And if you like the effort that I've been putting into creating videos for you guys, then give me a super thanks. I would really appreciate that. It's in the below the video somewhere there. And if you're interested in any kind of reading or courses, then head over to tanastrology.com. All the links are in the description box and in the comments section as well, where me and my sister soul tribes would love to be your guides on your self-discovery journeys. So sending everyone much love and omniscience today. Bye.